We're going to go to Malcolm Webb, who is in Beirut for us, and terrible scenes of destruction there, and the search for bodies continues, Malcolm.
It does, and just a short while ago the Israeli militaries issued new forced evacuation orders and warnings of airstrikes, this time for the southern suburbs, but expanding the area that it says that airstrikes may be conducted in, including the Al-Janah neighbourhood to the south of the previous evacuation zone. This is an area that's densely populated, home to thousands of people. It just borders the international airport, and it's an area where thousands of people had previously fled from the southern suburbs. So that's going to force thousands of people on the move once again, looking yet again for somewhere safe to go to avoid the kind of destruction that we can see here. I'm going to step aside so we can take a look. This is one of the sites in central Beirut that was hit just over 24 hours ago in that wave of bombings across the city. In this case, a weapon hit. Residents say it was about 20 or 25 minutes later that the building collapsed, with still many people inside. And so the rescue operation has continued ever since, with this excavator pulling through this enormous pile of rubble, people's possessions, clothing, furnishings, trying to find any survivors and recovering the bodies of those who did not survive. There were no warnings for this area or the other targets of the Israeli military in central Beirut, so people here were completely taken by surprise, and that's one of the reasons it's contributed to such a high number of people who were killed and injured in Wednesday's violence.
Yeah, Malcolm, those pictures are a stark illustration of the scale of the damage. Stay with us. We'll come back to you in a moment because Lebanon's southern city of Tyre also suffered major attacks by Israel on Wednesday. One of the last remaining bridges on the city's northern outskirts was hit. Many have been forced to flee on foot. Now, civil defence teams are working hard to try and repair the crossing, one of the last remaining bridges linking it to the rest of the country. Israel has also struck power stations and hospitals across the south of the country. I'm going to go to Obaida Hitto, who is in Tyre in southern Lebanon for us. And much of the focus of the Israeli military operations has been in the south. Can you just give us an idea of what you've been seeing there today?
Well, we've been hearing the sound of jets in the sky and drones. There have been a series of explosions in the distance, also heard from here in Tyre. The bridge that you mentioned that was damaged overnight has since been repaired by the military and the Lebanese civil defense. It's now currently operational, even though it's been significantly damaged. That caused a significant amount of panic among civilians here in the south of Lebanon because of the systematic targeting of the bridges that connect the south and the north of the country over the Litani River. Almost 8 bridges completely destroyed. This one was a smaller bridge known as the Sea Road Bridge here outside of the city of Tyre. The damage to it was significant, but as I mentioned, it's now been repaired. Perhaps the most significant development over the last hour, we've got a confirmation now that there are intense battles going on in the town of Bint Jbeil, which is further east from where we are. It's a town that's just about 3 to 4 kilometers from the blue line. Israeli troops have been trying to enter that town over the last several weeks. They failed and met a significant resistance by Hezbollah fighters. Now they're trying to besiege the town, and the fighting has now entered into actually the first streets on the eastern side of the town of Bint Jbeil. A significant development on the ground here, as Israel says it's going to continue to try and create a border, a buffer zone on the border and carry out strikes against Hezbollah. In return, Hezbollah has continued today to carry out strikes into Israeli territory, which is causing a lot of concern for people here in southern Lebanon who were hoping that the country would be included in the ceasefire talks. But until now, it seems like like the fighting is going to continue in southern Lebanon.
That's certainly the indication that we are getting. Obaida Hitto for us in southern Lebanon. Thanks so much. Well, the Lebanese government says it is trying to reach a deal with Israel to end the violence, but in a statement issued through the information minister, the Lebanese president emphasised it must be the government that is involved in the negotiations.
We're trying to give ourselves a chance to reach a ceasefire deal and also to pressure for Lebanon to be part of this deal so we can start negotiations. Secondly, as a state with its own institutions and presence, the state should negotiate, and we do not accept that any other party conduct the negotiations. The President added that we have all the capabilities and means to negotiate. Therefore, we do not accept that any other party negotiates on behalf of us.
We're going to go back to Malcolm Webb, who's in Beirut. And Malcolm, the government there basically saying that it should be the one to negotiate with Israel, not Hezbollah. What exactly are they proposing?
Well, they, from the start of this round of the conflict, the beginning of last month, when Hezbollah first fired rockets into Israel, the Lebanese government banned Hezbollah's military activity and repeated again its calls to disarm Hezbollah, although it's something that militarily it's widely understood to lack the capacity to do so. Now, Iran had said that the ceasefire would need to be regional, it would need to include Lebanon. Pakistan, the mediator, had said that the ceasefire specifically should include Lebanon. Subsequently, Israel said that it did not include Lebanon, and Trump backed them up. Now, the Lebanese government is trying to find a way out of this, trying to end this crisis. Hezbollah's position has always been that it won't negotiate on the fire. And of course, looking at scenes like that, Lebanon is still very much under fire from the Israeli military. So there are many sticking points for these talks to proceed. But the Lebanese government is, of course, still trying to assert its authority and what it calls its sovereignty over its territory and over non-state armed actors, specifically Hezbollah, which it lacks the military capacity to actually disarm.
Thank you so much for that, Malcolm. Malcolm Webb with the latest from Beirut.